The Indian Navy ship killer Brahmos missiles may soon be deployed right on Turkey's doorstep. A rattled Turkish media has been reporting that India's Prime Minister Modi has offered the Brahmos cruise missile to Cyprus, which is Turkey's arch-rival. This follows news that India has also offered its long-range land attack cruise missile to Greece. Now, this is not good news for Erdogan, who can probably see his dreams of Ottoman revival and a blue homeland doctrine sinking to the bottom of the eastern Mediterranean. The Brahmos are the same missiles used by the Indian Air Force and Indian Army to beat Chinese air defenses and hit multiple Pakistani air bases. Would Turkish warships meet the same fate if Erdogan continues to provoke India? When Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to Nicosia and looked across the border towards Turkish-occupied Cyprus, Erdogan must not have realized that he would soon be staring down the barrels of the Brahmos. We'll tell you why Turkish media is rattled by the Brahmos, how Brahmos was able to beat Chinese air defenses in Operation Sindoor, and why India has renewed interest in Cyprus and Greece. And is this Modi's strategic counter to Erdogan meddling in the Kashmir issue? After a Pakistan-based terror group claimed responsibility for the Pahalgam terror attack in Kashmir, India has upped its diplomatic counter to nations which support Pakistan terror apparatus. On top of that list is Erdogan's Turkey. We are seeing the first moves on the geopolitical chessboard as Turkish media was abuzz with reports that India offered Cyprus the Brahmos, its most advanced supersonic cruise missile. Even the Philippines has bought and deployed this Indian missile to guard against the Chinese naval threats. Cyprus could become the next customer. Brahmos is famously known as the ship killer missile, capable of neutralizing all types of naval threats, and that includes any warship in the Turkish fleet. With a speed of Mach 3 and range of 300 kilometers, Brahmos is also capable of sea skimming to beat detection by enemy radar. We'll tell you more about the Brahmos a bit later. But the geopolitical move underscores India's growing defense manufacturing capabilities and a diplomatic alignment with Cyprus. Nicosia has for long been India's geopolitical ally. The bilateral relations were further cemented after Narendra Modi's recent visit to the island nation on the 15th of June. This was the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister in over 2 decades, further amplifying the geopolitical significance of this Brahmos offer. If finalized, the deployment of the Brahmos missile in Cyprus could significantly alter the regional balance of power. Despite Turkey having a much larger navy, its warship would be easy target practice for the Brahmos in case of any conflict. The Brahmos would certainly even the odds in any battle. Erdogan's Turkey continues its efforts to assert control over the exclusive economic zone of Cyprus. Turkey refuses to accept Cyprus's EEZ of 200 nautical miles. Erdogan's claims are not backed by international law and have been rejected by both Cyprus and Greece. Still, the threat of a serious conflict can never be ruled out. So why is India offering its defense tech to its Mediterranean allies now? After India launched its Operation Sindoor military strikes as a calculated strategy to target Pakistan's terror hideouts, Turkish President Erdogan reinforced his strategic alignment with Islamabad, showcasing his diplomatic priorities to the whole world. He provided armed drones to the Pakistani military, which fired between 300 and 400 of these Turkish drones towards India, though nearly all were shot down by Indian Air Force's air defense grid. However, this act did not go down well with India and the Modi government. In the past, Erdogan has also dared to interfere in India's domestic issues, including Kashmir. We expect Turkey to strongly urge Pakistan to end its support for cross-border terror and take credible and verifiable actions against the terror ecosystem it has harbored for decades. But that's not all. This is a report of the European Parliament, which touched upon Turkey's covert anti-India operations and backing of Islamic extremism in India. The report in the European Parliament mentioned, quote, "According to two Indian Security Service reports, Turkey is channeling funding into the activities of former ISIS members in India that are seeking to radicalize Indian Muslims and achieve large-scale destabilization through a transfer of know-how," unquote. But now it seems the Modi government has taken a more proactive approach. As the Modi government has stated, acts of terror will be considered acts of war. India has now sought to deepen its ties with countries like Cyprus, Greece, and Armenia, which all share common concerns about Turkey's regional ambitions. This as Turkey seeks to expand its influence in the Aegean, Black Sea, and the Eastern Mediterranean through its Blue Homeland doctrine at the cost of its neighbors. But let's find out more about the missile that has rattled Turkey, the missile which India is planning to supply Cyprus. Brahmos is a supersonic cruise missile jointly developed by India and Russia. It is famously recognized for its high speed, precision, and versatility. It has the capabilities to reach speeds of up to Mach 3, which is about 3,400 to 3,700 kilometers per hour. Its speed makes it one of the fastest cruise missiles in the world today. The upgraded Brahmos, in fact, has a range of up to 650 kilometers and can carry a warhead weighing between 200 to 300 kilograms. So what are its key features? It has a fire and forget mechanism. Once launched, Brahmos requires no further guidance, allowing rapid and precision strikes. Versatile launch platforms as well. It can be launched on all versatile platforms, including land-based mobile launchers, ship-based launchers, as well as fighter jets, most notably the Sukhoi 30 MKI. Indian Navy is also arming its submarines with the Brahmos. Stealth and survivability is another feature that makes the Brahmos quite unique in its capabilities. It has low radar cross-section and supersonic speeds, hence making it and its interception extremely difficult. Lastly, its unique feature is precision. Brahmos has a circular error probable as low as 1 meter, enabling highly accurate targeting from long ranges. Indian Army's internal simulations claim a salvo of just 3 Brahmos can sink even the biggest Chinese aircraft carriers. So why is India looking to boost ties with Cyprus? Cyprus has always supported India on multiple international issues. Both countries are also working towards boosting their economy by establishing the India-Greece-Cyprus Business and Investment Council. The second and more important area of cooperation is on counter-terror, where both the countries are on the same page. Cyprus also backed India's bid for a permanent seat on the UNSC and its fight against cross-border terror originating from Pakistan. Cyprus's upcoming presidency of the European Union and its role in the proposed India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor or IMEC make it a valuable partner for India's broader regional and economic strategies. India's interest in Cyprus is also based on the island's strategic geopolitical location. It is situated in the Eastern Mediterranean and it serves as a potential gateway for India's trade and investment into Europe, especially through initiatives like the IMEC corridor. Strengthening ties with Cyprus helps India expand its influence in Europe as well as Mediterranean while deepening its economic, technological, and security collaboration. This is why Cyprus is a key partner for India, not just in defense, but also in maritime security and counter-terror cooperation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Cyprus from June 15 to 16th was part of a broader three-nation tour which included a visit to the G7 summit in Canada. Strategic and defense cooperation was one of the most crucial parts of discussions, especially in light of recent geopolitical scenarios. During the visit, Modi and Cypriot President Nikos Christodoulides traveled to the border near Nicosia, overlooking northern Cyprus, a territory which has been under indirect Turkish occupation since 1974. Modi highlighted India's solidarity with Cyprus in its long-standing border conflict with Turkey. The visit also saw Prime Minister Modi being honored with Cyprus's highest civilian honor, the Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III. Modi's presence near Turkish-occupied zone was a pointed gesture, underscoring India's support for Cyprus's territorial integrity and a subtle warning to Erdogan: if you provoke in Kashmir, then India will hit back in the Mediterranean. The visit is also seen as an effort to anchor Cyprus more firmly within India's strategic calculations, especially with Cyprus set to assume the EU Council presidency in 2026, with the India-EU FTA talks gaining momentum. While it's still unconfirmed whether India will supply Brahmos or not, what is confirmed is that India is helping set up a drone ecosystem in Cyprus. Times of India reports that Drone Destination, one of India's leading drone technology and training companies, will establish its European subsidiary in Cyprus. This will focus on drone development, training services and drone sports as well, thereby creating a comprehensive and future-ready ecosystem for unmanned aerial systems across Europe. Of course, it is bound to help the Cypriot Defense Forces as well. Turkey has long been a strong supporter of Pakistan's communal narrative of the two-nation theory as well as Islamabad's narrative on Kashmir. Now, entire Jammu and Kashmir lawfully and legally acceded to India after partition in 1947. Thus, even today, entire Jammu and Kashmir, including Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, is legally and historically Indian territory. Today, Kashmiris march with the Indian flag, yet Pakistan, backed by Turkey, continues to push religious Islamic extremism in the garb of a freedom movement. Even after the Pahalgam terror attack in India, Erdogan decided to back the global terror factory Pakistan. Even though reports have been denied by Ankara, Turkey sent 6 military aircraft to Pakistan, all laden with alleged Turkish-made weapons and military drones. The global air surveillance system picked up the presence of Turkey's C-130 military aircraft in Pakistan. Ankara, however, claimed the cargo plane landed in Pakistan for refueling. Turkey sent one of its naval warships as well, TCG Baykara, a corvette to Pakistan's Karachi port, calling it a routine port call. However, with India having the world's 7th most powerful navy compared to Pakistan's 29th, the Turkish ship should be thankful it did not get caught in the crossfire. On the intervening night of May 8th and 9th, 300 to 400 Turkish-made drones were launched by Pakistan, violating the Indian airspace in order to possibly test India's air defense systems and to gather intelligence, the government said. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri added, "These provocative and escalatory actions taken by Pakistan last night were targeted at Indian cities, civilian infrastructure, as well as some military targets." Unquote. Pakistan's official purchase of Turkish arms and ammunition from 2024, it stands at $5.16 million according to NDTV. However, they couldn't save Pakistan from getting hammered by the Indian military during Operation Sindoor. Turkey has provided Pakistan its Bayraktar TB2 and Akinci drones for enhanced surveillance. Ankara is also providing Islamabad with advanced naval assets, 4 Milgem-class corvettes, 2 of which PNS Khyber and PNS Babar were built in Istanbul and have been delivered, and 2 others, PNS Tariq and PNS Badr, are currently being built at the Karachi shipyard. Against the backdrop of India-Turkey tensions, the partnership between India and Greece is also growing, Turkey's eternal rival. According to Times of India reports, India is deepening its strategic ties with Greece by offering to supply its long-range land attack cruise missile to Athens. This move has again triggered alarm in Turkish media, and it has been described as a security threat. This Indian missile, with a range of up to 1,500 kilometers and the ability to carry both conventional and nuclear warheads. Reports suggest that such a deal would provide Greece with a strategic deterrent against Turkey, heightening tensions in Eastern Mediterranean. India and Greece are reforging their ancient civilizational ties in the 21st century. Visits by the Indian Air Force Chief to Athens involved extensive discussions with Greek counterparts, focusing on operational cooperation, joint training, and sharing of combat experience that were particularly inspired from India's recent Operation Sindoor. India and Greece have also agreed to link their defense industries, focusing on co-production and co-development of defense items, including coordination on defense, cybersecurity, counter-terror, and maritime security. According to a report by Eurasia Review and Atlantic Council, India-Armenia defense ties have rapidly expanded since 2022, making India Armenia's largest defense supplier. Armenia is also one of the top buyers of Indian defense equipment, along with United States and France. Between the years 2022 and 2023, Armenia signed over $1.5 billion worth of defense contracts with India. This was after conflict with Azerbaijan over Nagorno-Karabakh and Russia's inability to fulfill arms contracts due to the ongoing war in Ukraine. The total volume of weapons purchased by Armenia from India reached $600 million already by the start of the current FY25. So Armenia is now India's biggest customer for finished weapon systems. These include the Pinaka multiple rocket launchers, 155mm ATAGS artillery guns, Akash-1 and Akash-NG air defense systems, the anti-tank missile systems, the ZADS counter-drone system, mortars, and various munitions. In fact, Armenia has also shown interest in upgrading its Sukhoi 30 fighter jets with Indian weapons and exploring the acquisition of Indian missiles such as the indigenous Astra beyond visual range air-to-air missile. Armenia also supports India's position on Kashmir and backs India's permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council. India's offer of Brahmos missiles to Cyprus and its defense ties with Greece and Armenia signal a decisive geopolitical shift, reflecting New Delhi's intent to counter the growing Turkey-Pakistan-Azerbaijan nexus. By anchoring these alliances, India is sending a clear message. It will actively counter any threats through strategic partnerships and defense diplomacy. And if all that fails, then Bharat is prepared for Operation Sindoor Part 2. But what do you believe? Should India supply the Brahmos missiles to Cyprus? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button, and subscribe to Inconnect News.